All right, all right. Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Ben Dickerson, your co-host, lover of everything football, especially the NFL, and fantasy geek. And not to belabor the point, but I'm having my way with folks in fantasy basketball right now. I'm rocking. I got like 20 teams, and I'm in no less than third place in any of them. I'm a monster.
Well, okay. What do you probably got the 3-4 teams that's knocking everybody out the box. You got the Lakers. Who else you got?
No, it's players. You got to pick players.
Oh, you got to pick players.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to build.
So you got 3 or 4 guys.
Yeah, but how could I get those same 3 or 4 guys in 20 different drafts?
A lot of dumb people out there.
No, that's not how it works, bro.
That ain't how it works.
That ain't how it works.
So you trying to imply some creativity in your fantasy, some
absolutely
shrewdness,
absolutely,
some cold, calculated gamesmanship.
That's right. You got to know and pick up people that are going to get hot before they get hot.
Like a stock. All right, mister. I see you.
Yeah.
Got to pick it up before it gets hot.
Yep.
Okay. I like that. Like who, for example?
Let me see. Quick example. Okay, this is John Collins, who is the center for the Atlanta Hawks. Started off the season pretty well. Actually, looked like he was going to have a monster year. He got suspended for, I don't know if he was using steroids. That's they just say performance-enhancing drugs. So they suspended him for like, I don't know, 20 games or 30 games or something. I don't know how many they played. So people dropped him. But I picked him up, kept him while he was suspended on my team, still was able to win games with one less active player, and then activated him when he came back, and he's crushing people.
So you bet on the guy on drugs, eh?
Yeah, I did. Kendrick Nunn.
Kendrick Nunn.
You don't even know who Kendrick Nunn is.
I sure don't.
The point guard for your Chicago Bulls.
Oh, my goodness.
Shooting the lights out. Shooting the lights out.
What? My
Yes,
baby
sir.
Bulls? They're
Yes,
getting
sir.
it in?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's just a small example.
I don't really turn basketball on in my head until after football season is over. I have been checking out a little bit of stuff here and there. I saw a little bit of Ben Simmons playing center for Embiid. I saw a little bit of that. I watched a little bit of Luka Doncic. Say his name for
Doncic.
me. Yeah, I was hearing so much I had to check him out. But dude, smooth, ain't he?
He's smooth. He's very smooth.
He's smooth, and it's hilarious watching. What's the owner for the Mavericks?
Oh, Mark Cuban.
Watching Mark Cuban. I mean, he's got to be in Nirvana, having lost his one guy that was the superstar all that time. Finally retires.
Right.
And he picks up, Doncic.
Right.
Like that's, if you look over a time period, like what's his name? I'm losing his name. What's the guy that retired? His big star.
I hate when you do that to me. But yeah, it'll come to me in a second.
Right.
But before they got Doncic in the draft, they made a move to get Porzingis away from the Knicks, coming off of a bad knee injury.
Oh, okay.
They put him in the cut. Then they got Doncic. Now they got a 1-2 punch that's crazy.
Yeah, because Porzingis was like Doncic, but I think he's bigger, right?
Porzingis is a 7'3".
Right. Okay, I'll catch up. Good stuff. Well,
but,
congratulations.
Most people, and we can get back to football, but the thing is with most people, if you don't play fantasy or you're not really a super basketball geek, most people wait till the All-Star game before they start really watching. You know what I mean? Because this is kind of the dog days now, a little bit before and a little bit after. And then as you start to push toward the playoffs and people are vying for their seeds, that's when the NBA gets really interesting. So
Right. I guess that's about me. I'm that person then, you know.
yeah, by then football's over, and
Right, right.
Yep.
And I'm jonesing, and it's like, basketball, give me something. I need it. You know, it gets to be like that. We'll see. We have the XFL attempting to fill that void now.
Yes,
So
I'm
we'll have an
interested. I'm interested.
You interested?
I'm interested. You know what? Jim McMahon, the WWE guy, this XFL is his baby.
You're a wrestling dude, aren't you?
I like wrestling. I don't
Okay.
like wrestling as much as I used to. I think the personalities are getting kind of corny now, but I do still watch from time to time. I watch SmackDown from time to time, but McMahon is a bit of a genius when it comes to this kind of stuff with promotion and all. And he didn't quite make it the first time around with spring football. I think he's corrected some things. And I have a funny feeling this might be a fairly strong move he's making with the XFL this time. It could be very interesting. He's learned
He
from
already blocked. Didn't he block somebody? I think we put an article up on Ben and Barry on football about him blocking the NFL trying to get a player or something like that.
Yeah, I think he's got something written into all their contracts that they can't, so the NFL can't steal them. Because what happens is these guys come off these practice squads and then they start to shine, and then the NFL immediately tries to snatch them. So, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that experience. Because hey, nothing like it. Nothing like it. All right, so we are going into Pro Bowl weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about the Well, no, let me think here. I don't think I put anything much. Oh, I did. I know, because we talked about your the change in the rules. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's do review. Okay, we'll talk about what happened last weekend. Let's share some information with the people about what was going on as we headed into last weekend. Championship Sunday, Green Bay Packers versus my beloved 49ers. Aha! Tennessee Titans versus the Kansas City Chiefs. We looked at those teams across the four categories that we always look at as a starting point for discussion. Starting with turnover differential here, and as you can see, the Green Bay Packers were looking strong. Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs were just about tied, and my Niners would still have questions relative to turnovers, especially relative to my quarterback. We're down in fourth place relative to turnover differential. So before we go any further, any quick mentions on that? Is that part as far as that part of the game is concerned?
Could it possibly be, and it would probably take a bit of mathematics to find out, but could it possibly be that the skew from that early Steelers game is still a little bit of a albatross around the 49ers' necks? That was a bad turnover there. They had 5, didn't they?
Yeah, and we've talked about the skew in different situations, and in terms of turnovers, yes, it worked against my Niners and it worked for the Steelers, for example. They were looking really, really strong at some point, and partially because they were the team that the game that we played with the 5 turnovers. And it was also a game that, to be quite honest, the Niners defense found themselves up against a wall numerous times and stood steadfast and, was not letting people into the end zone, with multiple attempts in the red zone. So that kind of gave us a clue that these guys were serious, that they wasn't really going to they were going to be effective as a defense. So you're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, when we went here, to points against. Can you see that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to make it even a little bit better if we can. There we go.
That's nice.
Green Bay Packers, you know, we're looking good defensively. The Titans defensively. The Chiefs actually ahead of my Niners. And, you know, we knew that the last quarter of that season, we were giving up a ton of points, but we were also playing quality teams going down the stretch. So, yeah, that's you could consider that a skew to some degree, but no, you know, it really. And to be quite honest with you, we'll talk about it, you know, when we talk about the upcoming games. But part of that experience, we'll just plant this seed. Part of that experience was dealing with mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah, not only just mobile quarterbacks, but pretty stiff competition overall. I would say the end of the season for the Chiefs and the Niners was a little bit tougher than it was for the Packers and the Titans, you know, when it's all said and done.
And I'm not sure about the Chiefs coming down the pike. I'd have to go back and look at their schedule to see how difficult that was coming down the pike. But whoever was in front of them, they were handling their business pretty well. But they weren't undefeated this year. You know, they got knocked out a few times. So
right, but they won games. They just happened to get scored on a bit. They were in a couple of shootouts. It only takes two to mess up your numbers, you know. So, yeah, even if you don't say the competition was as strong as it was for the Niners, because their stretch run was tremendous. But and the fact that they came out of there with mostly wins is really great. But Kansas City has shown a tendency throughout the season to give up points. But their strong offense usually pulled them out of the fire, and they were able to get the wins. So, you know, and the difference between those points against is not that great, as is not that great a difference, well, sort of, kind of, for points for that we're looking at now.
It's so interesting to see us in first place ahead of the Chiefs in scoring. That is going to be the dynamic that I think is going to really make this a tremendous Super Bowl. Because although one is by air and one is by land, the war is on when these guys get, you know, they're effective in what they do.
Oh, that's great. That you said it. That's what you said it all, man. We're talking about 506 points as opposed to 502 points. You might as well call that a wash. And the way they each do it is so different. It's amazing, and it's a commitment to your favorite word, your system. They're committed to their coaches' systems, and that's what they believe in. That's what they stick with, and that's why they are where they are.
It is so interesting. And so when we went, let's see here now, when we looked at those games last week, oh, here it is. This is what I wanted to show everyone. Let's look at net points as we go into this, because that's what it all comes down to, and that's what we hang our hat on here. So, again, very close. Kansas City Chiefs, Tennessee Titans, net point wise, obviously, net points favored the Chiefs, not by much, over like 18 games or so for the Titans and 17 games for the Chiefs, which made it really close. We'll talk about that bias plus score, which was 0.1. You know, we'll just go ahead and throw that out there. But you got a chance to watch the game at some point, or how'd you follow up on that? I know you were. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben and Barry want to make a statement to the entire world, okay? The entire getting hitched world. Do not schedule weddings on championship Sunday.
You're killing me, man.
It is as ludicrous as scheduling a wedding on Super Bowl Sunday. It's even worse because that's 2 games that you miss. And probably sometimes championship Sunday, and to be quite honest, Benny, sometimes the games are better.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Sometimes the games on championship Sunday are better than the Super Bowl. That's a fact.
Super Bowl. That is so please don't do that. Okay? Football is the #1 sport. The people in your wedding audience are all football fans. And if you're wondering why while you're getting married, they're looking down, it's because they have free phone football. So yeah, I mean, hey, weddings, you can't do much about a funeral. We understand. But weddings, check the NFL calendar. Make that a part of your planning. Avoid Sundays, but hey, if it had been division weekend, it would have been Saturday games that you'd have been locked out of. Friday night's probably a good night. And I hear Friday is a discount night. So you can save some money on Fridays as well as Sundays. I understand that's I talked to somebody. They told me that those are 2 discount days, Sundays and Fridays. You save a little money on your wedding, And
yeah,
the
Sunday weddings. I didn't know Sunday weddings was really a thing, to tell you the truth. So that was the last thing I had on my mind. But there's so many reasons why, even if you're a football fan, if you're getting married, that's the time. If you never listen to your wife or your girlfriend about anything, you're getting ready to marry her, you kind of got to defer. And if she doesn't really care about football, you're in a jam. You might have a bit of an argument, but you're probably going to lose it.
Well, there are ways. There are ways to influence and convince. And it might cost you money. It might cost you. But okay. All right. We'll come back to that rant a little bit later. Let's look at net points, because that is where we hang our hat. So going into Championship Sunday, Tennessee Titans, 23 net points, Chiefs 20, Niners 17, and the Packers 5. And the funny thing was, as we looked at these net point situations, and we went back and again looked at the turnover differential, those are the 2 things that make up our Bias Plus report. And so when we calculated in the turnover differential with the net points, for the Niners, it was a 0.1 Bias Plus score favoring the Niners. So you had a chance to watch that game. Anything stand out to you?
Yeah, what stood out to me was the team with the better defense and the team with the arguably better running game overall, but most definitely the better running game that day won the game. And that's the San Francisco 49ers. People are going to say, well, the Packers, they weren't that good. Their defense wasn't that strong. But they had Aaron Rodgers, but he didn't come through. Well, actually, Aaron Rodgers did come through. It's almost kind of like the type of game, not statistically, but almost the same type of game that Lamar Jackson had. It's like if you take his numbers overall, or just his numbers alone for that particular game, and you take a look at it and you go, wow, he had a great game. They must have won. But it didn't work out that way. 31 for 39 in passing. That's tremendous. 326 yards. He threw for 2 touchdowns, but he also threw 2 interceptions, and they turned out to be critical. Aaron Jones did not have his best day. He only got to carry the ball 12 times. So now when your number 1 back only gets 12 carries, you better really be slinging it, and your receivers need to really be standing up And unfortunately, only Devontae Adams was able to stand up. Got 138 yards total. Never got into the end zone. 9 catches is a nice day, but nice games are not good enough to win conference championships. I think that was the Packers' downfall. People are saying Jimmy G didn't have a great game. He didn't have to have a great game. Come on, that's crazy. Raheem Mostert, 29 carries. Derrick Henry type, 29 carries. 220 yards on the ground. That's not counting the passes he caught. 220 yards on the ground, 4 touchdowns. That's a monster game. That is a career day.
That's historic.
That's historic. A career day on a guy that's been a journeyman up to this point. This dude was on the Eagles practice squad. He played for 7 or was employed by 7 different teams. And he comes up with this. It was monstrous. It was tremendous. And I couldn't be happier for the guy. I really couldn't. There's no way the Packers could stand up to that kind of production and offensive line play. It's just it just wasn't in the cards for them. I'm sorry. Both sides of the line of scrimmage were dominated by the 49ers. That's all there is to it.
That is the key to most games, but my theorem, what hurts you during the regular season kills you in the playoffs, and your strengths get magnified in the playoffs. We'll talk a little bit about that, but I kind of felt confident that the Niners could handle the Packers' run game, because I felt like the running back for the Packers was very similar to the running back for the Vikings. Those are very good running backs, both. Very good, speedy, quick, the whole bit. But they handle the Vikings run game. That's a fair
comparison. That's a good comparison as far as what they do.
Right, exactly. Now, I wasn't sure going from Kirk Cousins to Aaron Rodgers how much of a difference. But let me see if I can show you what tied both Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers together relative to the Niners. Ready? Let me see if I can do it. First, I saw Kirk Cousins during the game doing like this. I was like, oh, he's done. And then I saw Rodgers. I'm like, oh, man, they're done.
That's the exasperated look. That's that exasperated look. It really is.
I couldn't believe I saw him doing the same thing. I'm dying over there. I'm like, uh-oh, stick a fork in him. I'm looking for 3 for 3. If we can get there. If you look up and Mahomes does that, you'll see me on the floor. I'm done. I'll be done. Oh, man, looking forward to this. So, anywho, wrapping up this part, let's go back and look at, let's see, hold on a second. Look at that bias plus. For that Titans game. And, I went back because I had pretty closely watched the Niner game, as a fan, that, I was just that much more tuned in. And that, I watched both games very closely, but knowing the Niners as I know them, for example, when you talk about Mostert, how many times have we talked to? Remember us debating the whole Pettis returning kicks versus Mostert from Madden? Right. And I'm saying, no, Mostert, put the ball in Mostert's hands, leave Pettis alone. Mostert can get that done. He really has the features the capabilities, the speed, all of that stuff. And I'm so, glad to see that. We'll talk about, again, the game coming up. But as far as this Tennessee Titans game at Kansas City, the bias plus score was, again, 0.1, favored the Titans. And nobody else, I think, favored the Titans. They were, except for you. You favored the Titans.
Yes,
right?
I did.
Okay. So what happened when you had a chance to look at it? What did you think?
Okay, so this is the one that was going on during the during the wedding. I was able to catch some of the first quarter before the wedding began, and I was able to catch most of the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter after the wedding was over. I thought that the Titans had their chances. I believe they were up at some point. Another slow start by Kansas City that you don't really expect from a team that's so offensively strong. You expect them to come out of the gate really quickly and establish themselves. But the Titans were able to come in with the game plan everybody knew they were going to have, which is a lot of running by Derrick Henry and some timely passing by Tannehill. Try to keep control of the game, slow things down, long drives, that sort of thing. It looked like that was going to come into play early in the game. And then right before halftime, Patrick Mahomes had a really nice, more than nice, he scored a touchdown on the doggone run where it looked like he was going to get run out of bounds, did a little quick thing with his feet and was up the sideline. And that kind of just took Uncle momentum and flipped him right over to Kansas City Chiefs side. And the second half was a completely different game.
All right, let's talk about this run. When we do our social media part, you're going to see my meme that I put up for that run, because that had to be some of the worst tackling. As a matter of fact, you can't even call it tackling. It wasn't even tackling. The one guy literally was more interested in trying to pull the ball out of his hands at the 3-yard line than he was stopping his forward momentum. It was absolutely ludicrous. And they absolutely deserved to lose just on that display of defense.
Ooh, strong words by you.
Dude, I don't even go there. But
I know. That's what I'm saying.
And probably because the media is called the tacklers. I'm like, they weren't tacklers. What were they doing? These guys was flopping on the ground and bouncing around. It's crazy. Now, again, we'll talk about the game when it comes up. But, in a way, that last quarter of play with the Niners, again, we were dealing with Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray. So we've been having to deal with some running quarterbacks. So, I've had some criticisms relative to our control, stuff like that, but I've seen some growth. So we'll talk about that. But I know that surprised the Titans. It was a surprise. But a 3-man rush with a slow spy, I mean, literally. You know what he reminded me of, Ben? You remember when we played against the Cougars, and that guy would just drop back like 20 yards and throw it 50. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
We could never get to him because he could drop back. He dropped back 5-10 yards further than everybody else. But Mahomes was just diddling back there, using his blocks. And then, oh, wait a minute. Somebody fell down. Let's throw a 50-yard touchdown. Oh, I mean, really? The second half of that game, the Kansas City Chiefs ran the Titans' game plan. They ran the ball effectively. Just ran the ball. Everybody's like, they're like trying to come to grips with the fact, and they're giving the credit to Andy Reid. But again, Eric Bieniemy's on the mic there. I'm looking at who's doing most of the talking. Eric Bieniemy's doing most of the talking.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. And you know what I wondered? This is something we can have some fun with one day. We could put like, you know, the captions over the cartoon where what they say, like put some captions over what, let's say, the enemy is actually saying to Mahomes. Because at some particular point, Mahomes, how much does he need? Once you call the play, he's going to walk up there and he's making all the right adjustments, you know? So, what, I mean, what's he saying? You know, keep an eye on that guy in the corner, or, you know, when's the last time you had a good beer, or what? You know, you don't know what he's saying. And
Nah, he's just telling him to play. And then after that, he
after
has
that,
10
yeah,
options off of it.
you know, run the ball if you feel like it. If you see the opening, they're playing you man, they're playing you soft, you know, keep an eye out. If you see a lane, go, you know.
Right.
So, and that's what he did. Between him running, he actually led the team in rushing. But no, they actually ran the ball. They turned around and handed the ball off. And the Titans couldn't handle that. You know, they stuffed that. And at some point, I said, ooh, Ryan Tannehill looks like Ryan Tannehill right about now. This looks like the Ryan Tannehill that I remember when, you know, like when he had to run, he tried to spin back around, the guy grabbed his foot and he wound up falling for like a loss of like 15. So I mean, I'll give him credit. Late in the game, he threw that deep touchdown. So the Titans were still somewhat coming at him. But I just felt that their defense let them down big time. And part of that has to be on the coordinator.
Ooh,
I mean, somebody's calling the 3-man rush with a 1-man spy sitting back there, you know.
Okay, well, before we criticize stuff like that, we need to take a look at the down, the distance, placement of the ball on the field. They weren't in the red zone. I don't know what down it was. Now, I will say this. The guy that was supposed to be the spy, they picked the wrong guy. They definitely picked the wrong guy. And not only did they pick the wrong guy, but he got a really late start once Mahomes started to roll.
Right.
And it's something that, you know, I try to teach guys even when they're playing flag football is once it gets like that, it becomes a thing about angles. All right. You almost want to run away from the guy slightly as you try to get to the sideline so that you can cut him off. If you dart straight for the sideline, by the time you get there, he's turned in the corner. And I think that's kind of what happened to him on that play. That's just fundamentals. You know, that's fundamentals. Not saying he would have brought him down any doggone way, but that is fundamentals.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And again, you know, everybody, I understand their fear. As much speed as Kansas City has, you know, as much of a threat as they are, you know, they're dropping back, they're letting them curl up underneath and all of that kind of stuff, which Kelsey just eats that up, you know, if you want to do that. But there's a certain amount of aggression that you have to have. So, you know, if you don't have that, then you're not making him throw any quicker than what he wants to. And you've always got to make him throw in an uncomfortable situation. You know, if you're not doing that on a real constant basis, because it's that kind of stress that builds up over the game, and then you have Aaron Rodgers throwing 2 interceptions, you know, and that's the kind of stress that you have to be able. If you can't put that on the quarterback, most quarterbacks in the NFL will eat you up on that. You know, some guys, they're easier to stress than others. Obviously, we talked about pocket quarterbacks versus mobile quarterbacks, you know. And so, you know, the advent of the mobile quarterback now is upon us, and we'll talk about that at a later time. All right, Benny. So that kind of wraps up our review for Championship Sunday, unless you have any last things you want to mention about that.
No, just that if I made it sound like when I was talking about the Packers-Niners game, if I made it sound like the Packers really didn't have any business being there, I apologize for that. There was a point late in the game where the Packers had gotten themselves back into position where with a little bit of luck, a turnover, possibly a quick 3 and out, they could have come back and tied or won that game. So again, kudos to Aaron Rodgers for hanging in there when things were not going well for him. I think that the big difference was that the Packers defense just could not do anything with the 49ers run game. They couldn't do anything with it. It's one thing for a dominant run game to really give you fits. It's something else for a dominant run game to just pound you into the turf. And that's what they did. And so as well as Rodgers played, there's only so much you can do when the other team is getting the ball, you chewing up clock and just crushing your defense.
Let me ask you this question.
Yes.
The one Rodgers fumble where in the scramble, everybody diving in for the ball, Rodgers kind of did the same thing as –
No, don't say it. Cam Newton?
He did a Cam.
No.
He did a Cam.
Don't say
He was
it.
like, I'm not diving down in there.
Say it ain't so, AR. Yo,
Yes, he kind of left that thing alone, you know.
As a business decision.
That's right. Whatever's going on over there ain't none of my business right about now. I'm going to leave that alone. So, yeah, he did kind of go there with that. All right. We'll wrap up the review and get ready to move into commentaries. Since this is going into the Pro Bowl weekend, we'll talk a little bit about the Pro Bowl and all that kind of stuff in the next segment. All right, Benny, so in this part, we're going to go take a look at our social media feed, and we're going to riff a little bit on some of the issues that are popping up. Let's start out with this face right here.
What?
Yep.
Why don't you tell me how you really feel?
That's how I felt. In the previous section, we talked about it. The tackling on that run, I mean, was hideous. It was, you know, how did Tyson say it's ludicrous, you know? And I was like, but they kept, you know, and then this is what is even funnier. As gifted as Patrick Mahomes is, right? He's not exactly DK Metcalf in terms of his body build.
No.
But after he runs, he does like this. And he like don't really have no definite, there's no muscle, there's nothing. And he did it after the run. And I'm like, oh my God. You know, that's all it took. That little bit of muscle to get through like 6 guys who had a shot at least slowing him down, you know. And like I said, the one guy who was literally going to just try to pull the ball out of his hands and not stop his forward motion, not tackle him at all. Tackle first, strip second. Tackle first, strip second. Unless it's a situation where only a strip and you get the ball from to win the game, because if not, you know, I don't know. But very rarely are you going to go for the strip first.
Yeah, I've seen plays that end up like this before, be it a receiver or a running back or a quarterback who maybe has a breakaway run and there are still defenders between him and the end zone, but he's close. And the tackling technique just completely falls apart. And I wonder sometimes what's on these guys' minds. But I have seen guys look like they're going in for a tackle, and the guy's at the 3, and they go right for the ball right away. Like they don't even really attempt to make a sure tackle and stop him short from scoring. They go for the ball.
Seahawks safety at the time. Now he's a safety for the Ravens.
Yes. Cam Chancellor?
No.
No.
Free safeties, side to sideline.
Not. Okay. But anyway.
The one who broke his leg, and when he left, he gave the Seahawks the finger.
Yeah. Right.
I'm like that. I remember all the details. His name will come up in my mind sometime later, but I've seen him. But generally, there's other people on the tackle, going straight for the ball. Like, generally, and I've seen him go in and strip and really turn games around, like that. But
yeah, but that's in the middle of the field. We're talking about this guy's getting ready to score, dude. Like you're standing on the goal line. And you're the only one who can stop 6 points. And
you're not even in the tackling. He wasn't even in the tackling position, like down, head up. You know what I mean? Shoulders.
Okay, well
he's standing up, like reaching, like give me the ball.
That partly explains why he goes for the ball, because he knew he couldn't make a short tackle.
Oh, come on.
What? If the guy knows he can't make a short tackle, the next best thing is to try to get the strip. I'm not excusing what happened in that particular instance. But let's face it, if the guy gives you a little head fake and you're like, oops, the best I can do is grab at his ankles. But if
this guy he had already faked out there. He's just running. This guy had position between him and the goal line.
And he made no effort.
He made no
effort.
Actual to stop his momentum.
Okay. I've seen that.
Number one, he didn't make any effort to hit him.
but I've seen that before.
Hit that guy.
I've seen that before. So my question is, if in fact you are in position to make a tackle, is it a confidence thing? What is it that you just decide I'm going to make a play at the ball instead of stopping this guy from scoring a short touchdown? I don't know what's going through his head. I don't know. But I've seen it before. It's not a rarity.
Well, rarity is one way to put it. I don't think it's common, especially for a team that has progressed as far as they have into a playoff level. That means your defense had to be effective to some degree. But, at least the Chiefs were looking to hit people. There was one hit by Tyrann Mathieu, and everybody was getting all excited. Oh, he came up, But it was one of those hits where the quarterback throws the ball late out into the flat. And you got three guys over there, which meant the other side of the field, there had to be the numbers being in favor of the Titans. So he threw the ball to the wrong side of the field relative to an opportunity to do something with it. He threw it out late. Tyrann Mathieu comes up, hits the guy. I mean, you're reaching, you're out, the running back is reaching. He's not really planning. He has no force going forward. And he got hit. And everybody's like, oh, like he came up and he blasted him. And then I was like, oh, that wasn't that great of a hit. And the situation was really just complete. If he hadn't come up and hit him like that, I'd have fired him because it was just too easy. It was a setup.
So that does that, the fact that it was easy, does that make it not that great of a hit?
Yeah.
Strong safeties and linebackers dream about that situation.
But it wasn't even that great of a hit. I mean, if you get a guy who's completely stretched out and he's got no stability in his feet and you knock him to the ground, it looks good. But it didn't take much force. Huh?
Was the ball in his hands?
Yeah. Yeah. But it didn't take much force. I don't know if he dropped the pass and was incomplete or what. But the hit, the commentators made it sound like this was the hit of the ages, and it wasn't. It was a hit on a guy who was in a helpless position, and it wasn't that. I'm telling you, I think they were getting credit for physicality that really wasn't that physical. I guess that's what I'm saying. So we shall see as we move forward and we talk about physicality differences in the matchup that's coming. But again, this was Tannehill playing like the Tannehill of Miami as opposed to the Tannehill of the Titans.
Oh, come on, man. That's kind of strong.
Dude, let me tell you something. I saw a few times when Tannehill, again, when we talked about this, you're throwing the hard pass when you got three guys open underneath. It's second down.
Everybody does that.
But that's not smart. That's not smart.
It was smart. Who said it was smart?
Well, that's
nobody said it was smart.
Right. So we agree it's not smart. So
it's not smart. But you're demeaning a guy that had a great season because he did something that Tom Brady does that. Everybody does that from time to time because it happened in a bad time, a bad situation, in a huge game. Okay, you can magnify it, but don't down him like that, man. Come on.
It's the difference between Tannehill and Mahomes because Mahomes was throwing those passes. When them on first, second downs, those guys curl up 6-7 yards, bam, he's hitting them. He's hitting them, and they're moving that ball.
How about let's give Kansas City credit for coming in quick on those type of passes and making plays. He's been making those throws all season, just like Mahomes has. They're not smart, but their arm strength and the point that they can be accurate, their accuracy has gotten them through with it, just like it does with every other good quarterback. Everybody makes those throws, but the better quarterbacks complete them because of their accuracy, their arm strength, and all that. I've seen receivers on every single team in the NFL run that curl or run that hook or run that out and the ball be late or the ball's in a tight window and they get crushed. It happens to all of them.
This is a different play than the guy getting crushed. I'm talking about just you gotta move the chain.
I'm talking about
you gotta throw to the open. You got open guys. You got
ball is thrown in an area that is congested. Every quarterback in the league does that. They all do it.
That doesn't excuse it. It's not.
I'm not trying to excuse it. I'm telling you, you're being unfair to Ryan Tannehill for doing something that everybody does because it didn't turn out well for him. And
wait.
All I'm saying is you're being too hard on Tannehill.
Let me make sure I understand. You think it's bad football, right?
Yeah, no. I'm not going to say it's bad football. You know why I'm not going to say it's bad football? I'm not going to say it's bad football because it's a great play when they complete it. And you're like, oh, he threw in the triple coverage. What a great pass. When there's somebody else on the sideline,
don't say you
jumping jacks.
Don't say you say. I've pointed out during the season times when guys are throwing that and the commentators are saying, great play. And
that's right.
And in many cases, for the receiver to catch that ball, it's a great catch because it's a bad situation.
That's my point. I just said every NFL quarterback does it. You've seen it dozens of times. You've talked to me about it dozens of times because they all do it. All I'm saying is because Tannehill did it in this game, you are demeaning him, and I don't think that's fair.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm only demeaning him for this game. I'm not demeaning him for the season that he had.
You did. Come on, man. That's not fair.
This game, he looked like the old Ryan Tannehill making pressured decisions that were ineffective.
Why was he making pressured decisions?
Because his line was probably getting
Because they're a running team that fell behind, a la the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, so what's the point? The point is he can't beat, so he could not deal with that level of pressure. Okay.
Okay.
But in many cases, what I'm saying to you is that quick pass underneath beats that pressure. So if you're looking for this guy out there and not seeing what's right in front of you, that's a problem. Okay. And that'll get you beat most times because he has people open, but as a matter of fact, the funny thing was on the third down that followed that pass that I'm thinking about, he did throw it underneath. And of course, because they had to go whatever distance it was short. And so they didn't get the first down on third down. But I'm like, dude, you throw it underneath on second down. Your third down is third and short. You're throwing it deep out against double coverage on the corner. And now you're in a third and long situation. So situationally, I felt that he was making, we'll say pressured, but they were not effective decisions. Whether you want to say good, bad, or whatever, I'm going to say ineffective, because that's what it was in those situations. Okay, we might have to agree.
I have no problem with that, but I do have a problem with you talking about Ryan Tannehill the way that you did. You can't say he looked like the old Miami Dolphin Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, yes, I can.
He got in there,
yes,
and he
I can.
come from behind, and
I can say it.
To do, and it didn't work out for him, just like it didn't work out for Tom Brady, just like it didn't work out for Lamar Jackson, and just like it didn't work out for Aaron Rodgers, who all three of them found themselves in the same situation and came up with the L just like he did.
Oh, yes, I can. We'll agree to disagree.
Oh, but I can.
and again, here's my face on that situation. All right, look. My Niners are making history.
No mas.
My Niners are making history. We have the first female coach in a Super Bowl.
What is exactly her title?
That's a great question.
It's an offensive assistant. Yeah, there it is. Offensive assistant. So she's not a position coach. She's an overall offensive side of the ball assistant, which means she helps out pretty much everywhere.
Wow.
And I think that's great. I think it's tremendous. If she obviously has to know the game, they can't just take anybody off the street and say, listen, you're the offensive assistant. If I need you to pitch balls or try to this is a big accomplishment. This is a big deal.
Absolutely. And if I remember, she is a person who did work her way up the ranks. So,
I would hope so. I think that's great.
Yeah, and so congratulations again on that. Next up, do want to mention again, this is a guide for the Super Bowl, just to catch you up or anyone up, Super Bowl Hall of Fame experience that the NFL put out. So I just shared this on the page. So it's a link for more information on the Super Bowl. All right, let's talk about Antonio Brown for a second.
Do we have to?
Yeah. We can keep it short and sweet. It's not how much to say, but I did. First of all, as you saw there, at that point, I had posted that the arrest warrant had been issued. He had not been arrested. He has turned himself in. I understand he's out on bond at this particular point. But I also did listen. They had a recording of the 911 call that the guy who was, attacked made.
What did he say? What did he say?
He was like, well, he mentioned that he saw him smoking something.
Oh, jeez. Well, let me ask you a question. I have a question, because when I saw this, I didn't look into it to find out the details of it. I just was shaking my head. So this guy was driving a moving van, and he was outside of Antonio Brown's house. Was he there to get something from his house?
I believe he was making some level of a delivery, and they had a dispute over payment.
Oh, he was delivering something to Antonio Brown.
As far as I understand.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll put it that way. But the main issue, the dispute had to do with money.
Okay.
And part of the complaint, what he was saying is they were throwing stones or rocks at his truck. And then they took his keys and started and opened up the back and was pulling stuff out of the back of the truck. And he's hollering at him, "That's not your stuff."
Oh my God. Oh.
And you know, was it a week or so ago, we talked about our boy Chris Carter at the one of the rookie things where he told him always have a fall guy.
Right.
And I'm looking and I'm like, yeah, the trainer's locked up. They don't know where Antonio Brown is, right?
Yeah.
So like, is he going to be the fall guy in this situation? You know, as Chris Carter had, you know, explained to the rookies at some particular point. But I mean, dude, you know, he's got some real issues. And if he's smoking something on top of it, then maybe now we know why he's bleaching his mustache blonde and doing some of the other psychedelic things that he seems to be up to.
This guy, there's no doubt in my mind that this guy has some mental issues. Whether or not they're brought on by, you know, hard hits, he's had a few concussions.
We had one of our followers actually throw that out there, you know.
Yeah, I don't. It's possible that that's the case, but it's also possible that he just has some real mental issues, not brought on by football related type things, but just they're just really cropping up and beginning to grow. And we don't know how much he was able to get away with or keep hidden while he was with the Steelers, when, you know, he wasn't necessarily in the headlines for anything other than football. But that doesn't mean certain things didn't take place in the locker room or out on the street and didn't get reported, things like that maybe would have been like a cry for help to tell people that, yo, I'm not, you know, things ain't level up here. So, but it's one of those things now where it's like it's getting worse and worse and worse, and it almost seems like he can't rein it in. He just can't.
His Rosenhaus, what's his name? His agent,
Lou Rosenhaus,
had said basically until he gets help, I'm not going to be able to represent him. You know,
right?
So
which means
put that out there.
Which means he lied and said he was going to get help previously and didn't do it, because I believe Drew Rosenhaus would be on top of that stuff because he's handling all his affairs. You know what I mean? Taking care of his contract. He's keeping an eye on him. He's an investment to Drew Rosenhaus. So he's going to try his best to make sure this guy's doing all the right things so he can get back in the NFL and keep making money and making money for me. So he's on top of that stuff. So if he was going to get help, I don't think he would have made that strong of a statement about him getting help. I think that he said he was going to get help and did not do it. And it was pretty much the last straw for Rosenhaus.
Yeah. You know, it's a sad situation. I mean, this is a guy who at some point was considered the #1 receiver in the NFL, top talent. So, you know, again, you know, I'm empathetic to people with, you know, with those types of problems, but you don't know how much is mental illness versus being an a-hole. You know, there's, you know, it's almost like all of these criminal acts that are happening out there, you start to say how much of that is mental illness and how many of these people are just a-holes. You know, it's hard to tell, but, you know, we'll keep an eye out on that. There's a whole lot more going on in the NFL, but I just wanted to mention that real quick. One of the issues that came up, and I posted this, is a move. Is a petition to move the Super Bowl from Sunday to Saturday.
Why?
Well, you know something? There's a few different reasons. Let's see. I mean, I'm going to see if we can maybe take a quick look at the actual article. Sometimes we do that. We actually bring the article up so that people can see it. More money, more visitors to the game, NFL will get more television views because most government jobs have off. I think they're off on Sunday too, so I don't know where that had to do with it. More children to enjoy the game or at the venue. And so that's what they seem to think. You know, when I saw this, the first thing that I thought, to be quite honest with you, was, okay, people need a day to recover from all of the partying that happens on Super Bowl Sunday. Super Bowl Monday has to be probably one of the least productive days at any job. So the positive side of that might be an increase in employment productivity. I don't know if it'd be measurable.
You think the NFL cares about that?
Well, no, I don't know if the NFL, but the argument being made in the article was that the NFL would make more money at it. What, do you think that would happen?
I don't see that. The people that are going to watch it on television are going to watch it on television, whether they got to work on Monday or not. They might not make it to the end of the game, but they're going to watch it. The people that are in the stadium have already planned their week for the most part, or their weekend for the most part, have probably taken off because they had to travel to get to the game. So they're not going to work that Monday any doggone way. And I don't care if they have it on a Wednesday morning. The stadium only holds X number of people, and every seat will be filled, no matter when they have it. So, no, I don't know. Saturday's not going to make a difference.
You don't think Saturday might add enough additional people coming to the stadium that they might have to move it to a bigger stadium? Like, I don't know what the max is right now.
Why would they do that?
1,000. You know, those college stadiums are ridiculous. Those things hold more people than most of the pro stadiums.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that. The NFL is only going to deal with NFL. The revenue is going to stay in the NFL. Whether the team whose stadium they're playing in is in it or not, the revenue stays in the NFL. They're not going to do that. There's no way they do that. Nope. Not going to happen. And all the stadiums hold roughly the same number of people, except for the Coliseum that I think holds like 100,000. That's in LA. So other than that, they all hold 60, 70, 80,000. It's not going to be. You know who'll make more money? Chick-fil-A employees. Closed on Sunday.
Well, okay. You can order your Chick-fil-A's with the Super Bowl, and that'd be one catering option that you didn't have.
So if Chick-fil-A becomes a huge sponsor somehow, then they might change it to Saturday.
That would be interesting. But you know, let's face it, it's in our genes now that football comes on Sunday.
That's right.
We're used to that, and so. You know, I see both sides, but I tend to lean on, with you that, that it's not that big a deal that it's on a Sunday, except for the productivity issue, which, might get some sponsorship. Maybe some of the sponsors are whispering in their ear, or maybe it could be Chick-fil-A. We'll sponsor you if you move it to Saturday. Money talk. Lots of money coming into the NFL anyway, with the new Players Association contract that's being negotiated and some new revenue streams coming in. So they're looking at getting paid in any event, gambling, so they see revenue coming in, no doubt about it. The next step here, as a matter of fact, you've done some research on this. Well, no, not necessarily this. We're going to talk about the changes coming up, but I did put this out here because I just thought this was something that's fun. This is a YouTube video of different situations where the player knew the rules, and they're somewhat obscure rules.
Okay.
And, knowing the rules, man, if there's one thing, and we could talk about Madden relative to, how real it is, but it is the game. It is the essence of the gamesmanship. And knowing the rules, they're all built into that software. And so a lot of guys, young guys now know the game a lot better. I'm always surprised when I see guys, do things that Madden players know better than to do. Like, not running out of bounds when you need to be killing clock and you have that opportunity and things of that nature. But, one of the examples in this situation was where the ball was on a kickoff, and the ball hits the turf inbounds,
right,
and it's rolling over by the sideline, and the player establishes himself out of bounds and then reaches over, grabs the football, and in effect, now the football is out of bounds.
Out of bounds.
And the kickoff team is penalized.
That is correct. That is correct.
So
also,
it
also saves that guy from getting pinned on the sideline and getting his clock cleaned if he tries to return it.
If he tries to return it. Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that. But very heads up to know something, to know the rules to that extent. So that's what that video is. So if anyone gets a chance, visit Ben and Barry on Football on Facebook, and you'll have an opportunity to take a look at some of the other plays where they really knew obscure rules. Those situations where you have to make that choice to run out of bounds and take the safety in order to win the game. Have you seen them do that?
Oh, you mean run out of the back of the end zone?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So all those type of situations are included in that video. As you know, I think California passed that law?
Yes.
Now where the athletes have ability to make money off of their own images.
Yes.
And this is an article where the NCAA at a meeting called this new pay law a crisis, because they're just, well, number one, what they're saying is that they, as the NCAA, are a national organization. They don't want to be in a situation where that rule is being enforced with differences on a state by state level, either being enforced or not even having that law. And so now they're trying to deal with it on a state by state basis. And I think that they're looking for something on a national level, because at least with that, they can make the changes in their policies and things of that nature, if that's the way it's going to be. But it's funny, we've seen professionals struggle with social media in terms of doing things that don't make sense. Let me throw OBJ in there, for example.
Right.
Talked about AB posting on social media live his coach's, locker room, conversation and things of that nature.
Right.
A lot of these young people now, they're becoming influencers, especially if they have any level of notoriety, any level of popularity, or say they're big in any particular sport. So, a lot of these people have a really great following. So, it wouldn't be surprising to see, let's say, what's the number one guy coming out of Penn State, Chase, a defensive player, I think he is, coming out of, Ohio State, I meant to say. Chase Young. So you take a guy like Chase Young. I don't know, and I'll look this up real quick, how many followers he has on Twitter, but I have to assume it's a ton.
Yeah, that'd be a good guess.
His name is Chase Young, right?
Yes.
Chase Young. I guess this is CY2907. He has 96.9 thousand followers. I mean, you put a can of Coke Zero in his hands. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Coke is going to make that investment. he might not need the NFL.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and so it's really gonna change a lot. It's one thing when you get these kids, they're hungry. A lot of them are coming from, really tough financial situations. But if all of a sudden they're getting paid from numerous passive income sources, or go out and make a commercial or two, and get paid some really nice money. I mean, I'm not mad at them making money. I kind of like it, but I just hope it doesn't have too much of a social impact or even an impact on the game.
It's definitely going to have an impact on the game. I won't even get into the social impact. Let's think about it. The idea of these college players getting paid, I think on the surface is a good idea, considering what they do for the university as far as bringing in revenue and all that, especially in the major sports. However, I think it needs to be on a national level. This state-to-state thing, I do not think is going to work. I believe that California kind of jumped the gun on this by putting it into law. It's just too broad. First of all, everybody's going to start going to California schools. Every good player that thinks they're really good are going to.
I hadn't thought about that.
So now you jacked up recruiting tremendously.
But yeah, I will say this much though: California is always ahead of the curve in terms of laws. They're always putting out a proposition or something ahead of everybody else.
That's true, and if nothing else, they're pushing the NCAA and pushing the other states that have major college football to let's get this thing done. Let's figure this out. And ultimately, that may be a good thing. But the Pac-12 is being crapped on as a bad conference. USC, UCLA, Oregon, Stanford. And this is going to turn that around. I mean, it's going to turn it around.
Isn't that where Chip Kelly is?
Yes. Yes. So he's got a quarterback that might go in the first round too. Really? But besides that, I'm sorry. What am I saying? Chip Kelly's not at Oregon. He's at UCLA.
Yeah.
He needs the help. So he's probably happy for this. There'll be a lot of named players, 5-star athletes coming out of high school that are like, yo, I can start making money now. Are you kidding me? I'm going over there. And I don't think is fair. But, at least it gets the ball rolling in the direction of getting some kind of compensation for college players, because I think they deserve it. But what exactly it is, I'm not sure. And as far as the social media thing is concerned, do I really want a 19-year-old having a whole bunch of influence or more influence than he has just by being on Instagram over 14, 15, 16-year-olds? I don't think that's a good look either. You put Coke Zero in his hand, and then you put Lexus in his hands, and then you put, it's crazy. That could get crazy.
Well, it does, it shifts the balance of power for sure, because, I mean, it was all in the hands of the NCAA. Some of these kids, struggle to eat,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so,
they need. I always thought the stipend thing was fair. I don't see why they can't come up with a number or some kind of a scale. It'd be hard to do a scale in college. It's not like the NFL, but some kind of way where they could get a decent wage, for lack of a better word, without, you can't say, well, if you're in the SEC, because that's deemed the number one conference, each player should make this much. But if you're in the Pac-12, where football ain't that great, they can only make this much. That's not fair either, because you're going to get the same thing. Everybody's going to try to go to the SEC. Where do black colleges stand in this? Okay, where are their benefits going to be? There's good players in the MEAC, but the MEAC ain't going to be able to stand up to anybody. They won't be able to stand. They won't be able to put a good product on the field. You know what I mean? If they can't pay their players like the major colleges can. So, yeah, this has a lot of flaws.
It'll be like, go west, young man, go west.
For real. It'll be crazy. It'll be crazy.
Wow.
Enough room for all those players. But there'll be enough room to do damage to the other conferences because you can carry 100 guys on a college team.
Hey, look, I'd be going to junior college and everything else out in California, you know?
Hey.
Shoot, why not? All right, next up. This is the one that I mentioned you had some information on, the onside kick alternative that they're going to be utilizing in the Pro Bowl or experimenting with in the Pro Bowl. Tell us a little bit about that, what you know about that.
Okay, so first of all, the NFL has obviously been trying to do away with the onside kick. They've been bending and twisting the rules so that the onside kick is almost obsolete. Although it was executed a couple of times this season successfully, and it was tried sometimes a lot more than successfully. It was unsuccessful. But the bottom line is, because of the rules the way that they are, trying to get an onside kick is almost your absolute last resort. So they're trying to come up with alternatives to it. One of the alternatives is going to be used in the Pro Bowl, and it just so happens that it fits really well because there are no kickoffs in the Pro Bowl. So just speaking of the Pro Bowl alone, if you're behind and you're trying to come back, how can you enhance your comeback without the opportunity to get an onside kick, recover the ball, stay on offense, and try to score more points? So what they've come up with is a rule that's somewhat akin to flag football, where if you're behind and you score, actually, you don't even have to be behind. If you score, you have the option to give the opposing team the ball at the 25-yard line, which is where they would get it if you kicked it out of the end zone, or you can choose to keep the ball, have it placed on your own 25-yard line with one play to gain 15 yards. Not a first down, 15 yards. So they're not making it easy, but they're making it doable to the point where, relative to the situation in the game, you may want to try it. And you could actually be winning and do this. You get what I'm saying?
That's amazing. I mean, so let me say this again for clarification. So I have the ball. I'm the kickoff team.
Right.
As a kickoff team, okay, wait. So each team can kind of make a decision.
Yes.
The receiving team can elect to just take the ball on the 25. Am I correct?
No. The
Okay.
kicking team can elect to give them the ball on their own 25.
Okay, so the kicking team is making all the decisions here,
Yes.
all the elections. They
Yes.
have all the elections.
Yes.
So the kicking team can elect to just give it to them on the 25 as opposed to kicking off. So like if you have a guy like Mecole Hardman for the Kansas City Chiefs and you don't even want to kick off to this guy,
right,
you can say, all right, we're just going to give it to him on the 25 and go from there. So
right.
That way there's no risk of a return.
Right.
Okay.
Which I believe is the way it's going to be once the actual season starts. But in the Pro Bowl, there's no kickoffs anyway.
Okay.
So this alone makes the Pro Bowl worth watching.
So there's
every
no
time
kickoffs anyway. But but the other option is to take the ball on your own yard line?
25.
On your own 25, and you have one play to go 15 yards.
Yeah.
25 and 5 is 30, so you got to get to the 40-yard line. If you don't, the ball turns over to the return team
Right
at the
where it is.
25.
Right where it is,
Or
which is
wherever you get it to. So if you get it
right.
to the 39-yard line, you miss
That's
the
where they
40,
get it.
they get it at the 39.
Absolutely. Is that a chance you want to take?
That is very interesting.
It's
I
extremely
can't
interesting.
imagine the Vegas odds on all the little parlay bets that
Oh
would
my God, it's going to be incredible.
that would
Look,
generate.
let's say it's the beginning of the game, okay? And I'm kicking off to you. We start the game, we flip the coin, you choose to receive. I can say, I want to start the game on my own 25-yard line. I don't want to give you the ball. And there's nothing you can do about it. But
Wow.
if I put the ball on my own 25 and I can reverse the coin flip. See what I'm saying? Now, I don't know why I would want to do that, but I'm just saying that is a possibility. I lose the toss, and I'm a team that likes to take the ball. And you, as the opponent who wins the toss, decides you want to take the ball. Because I know some teams like to defer. But you decide to take the ball, which is what my team likes to do. I can say, no, I'm not giving you the ball on the 25. I'm taking the ball on my own 25 and banking on my team being able to get a 15-yard gain on one play. And if I get it, I can continue my drive, and then you got regular football rules. If you stop me somewhere along the line or I have to punt or whatever.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that out, because you and I struggle with the Pro Bowl as a viable football game. Our interest is low. As much as we love football, we've talked about this in previous shows, but now you're interested in watching this game because you want to see if anybody actually does this.
It's a strategy thing. It becomes it changes from a last minute option to get back in a game to a full game strategy issue. Say I get the ball first. I drive down. I score. I can say, I want the ball back on my 25. You never see the ball. I get a 15-yard gain on first down, and I'm driving again. Your quarterback hasn't even put his helmet on yet. I score again. I say, I'm doing it again. You see what I'm saying? This is crazy.
I wonder what happens on a pass interference play. Because I could see, like, let's say you have a Brady Gronkowski combo out there. Right now, it would be more like a Mahomes Kelsey. So basically, you put him out wide and you throw something up to him, and he's going for the ball and you're going to have to stop him, the other team, and pass interference happens. I wonder what would happen there. There's some other things, but you mentioned deferring, and that would also potentially change how that's all done.
That's a good question. What just popped into my head when you mentioned that was, in the NFL, pass interference, defensive pass interference is a spot foul and an automatic first down. But can you give an automatic first down on a play that's really not a real first down play?
Yeah, really.
Let's say the guy runs an 8-yard route and it's pass interference. Spot foul will not give them the 15 yards they need. Okay? I'm coming up, I'm jamming everybody. I'm jamming everybody. I'm grabbing jerseys. I'm doing all kind of stuff because I don't know if the penalty, which gives the first down, no, I'm sorry, that's wrong. PI is a spot foul. Holding is not a spot foul. Holding is what, 10 yards or something. So that still wouldn't give you the first down.
Right.
Oh yeah, I'm tripping people. Are you kidding? Now, the only way you can combat that is to say, although you have to gain 15 yards in order to keep the ball, all other rules still apply. So if there's a rule that deems like PI is an automatic first down, then you've accomplished your task. Otherwise, the defense can just come out and start smacking people, take the penalty, and get the ball back. That'd be crazy.
Now, in the Pro Bowl, as you said, there's no kickoff anyway.
That's right.
So
they're going to
part of the decision, placing it on the 25, that's kind of de facto. But now they have the option to try to take it on their own 25 and try to get the 15. That's now in there. And it's even that much more interesting considering that everybody there is an elite player.
Right.
So you got, but Russell Wilson throwing to,
Amari Cooper,
or my man from the Texans, or
something
like that.
Yeah,
right. More from the Saints.
Yeah, exactly. So it's crazy.
So that's very okay. All right, that's very interesting. We got a couple more things we're going to talk about real quick before we wrap this up. This came across the news wire today. Don't know if you had a chance to see this. Kareem Hunt cited for speeding, weed found in car. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's like your kids are effing up. It's like, can I talk to you for a minute? Because he's already he came off a suspension, right?
He came off a suspension. Everything was quiet. There was they didn't even bring it up anymore. People probably don't even remember what the heck he did to get suspended in the first place. Came out, was playing well, kept his nose clean, helped his team. It was basically forgotten. And now this.
He changed that offense. He added an element to that offense that was dynamic. It was the Chiefs type of element, that speed and that twitch that he has, and then you have the other running back coming with that power and speed game that he has. Hopefully he'll square that away. Ohio is not a legalized state, or is it? I don't know where they stand.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know
the legalities of that.
I don't know. All I know is he's in trouble again, and now people are going to quickly remember, oh, yeah, wasn't he suspended last year? What'd he do? Oh, yeah, that's right. He smacked the girl in the hotel. Come on, man.
It's crazy. So, yeah, I hope his situation resolves itself where he can continue to play. But, it's almost like when you're on probation or one of those type of legal situations where any small violation can put you in jail, right? Can kick you right to jail. I don't know if he has anything hanging over his head like that, where that type of a violation because of his past history could actually compound the normal penalty for that. So hopefully everything will work its way out. Yes. Okay. This is your time, Mr. Dickerson, to say whatever you want to say relative to Eli. This is your time. I yield the camera to you.
Eli. Thank you, Eli. That's the first thing I want to say. I want to say thank you, Eli Manning, for delivering 2 Super Bowls to me and all the other New York Football Giant fans around the world. We now have a total of 4 Super Bowls. We're amongst the elite when it comes to winning Super Bowls. I believe my esteemed colleague has some numbers that he may or may not want to bring up in reference to the number of teams that have won Super Bowls.
We'll throw that out a little more on our Super Bowl show.
Okay, that's good. We'll get to talk about that. But when you listen to those facts, you will find that the teams that we're talking about in reference to Super Bowl wins, that list also includes the New York Football Giants. So I'm very happy about that. Eli had a great career as far as I'm concerned. When you win 2 Super Bowls during your career, I consider you having a great career. There's nobody who's had a team that's won more than 1 Super Bowl. This is just me riffing, but I can't think of any team that had a mediocre quarterback that won 2 Super Bowls. There have been teams that have arguably had mediocre quarterbacks that have won 1 Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer comes to mind right away, but not 2. Not 2, and surely not 2 and 2 MVPs. So that alone is something that I think is very special. It makes him a special guy. And now that he's retired and his number has been retired, no other Giant will ever wear the number 10, which I think is very fitting. We move into the next conversation as to whether or not he's a Hall of Famer. And people will argue with numbers. His numbers are not great, but they're not terrible. They're above average as far as I know. I can relook and take a look at some specifics, but a good career, a productive career with 2 Super Bowl wins and 2 Super Bowl MVPs, I think that alone puts him into the Hall of Fame. Whether or not he'll be first ballot is another argument that my argument may not be as strong, but I definitely feel like he deserves to be a Hall of Famer and will be a Hall of Famer.
Well, relative to the Hall of Fame, my position is that if you win a Super Bowl, you should be in the Hall of Fame. We know how hard it is to win a Super Bowl. You might not agree. That's okay. You can expand on your disagreement, but that's how I feel. We did mention that they are there's only 2 teams that won 4, right? Super Bowls.
I don't know that for sure. I know there's a couple of teams that have won 6.
Well, the Patriots and the Steelers with 6, the Niners and the Cowboys with 5, and we have
the Giants with 4.
And the Giants with 4.
Okay, there you go. All right.
So that's 6 teams who won a collective 56% of all Super Bowls. So it ain't easy. No,
it's not easy at all. And I'm proud to be in that company, but I can't let you get away with that statement you made. You know that, right?
Which one?
The statement that says if you win a Super Bowl, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. You didn't mention any names. You didn't mention any positions. You didn't mention anything. So the guy that's the gunner on the punt team that wins the Super Bowl should be in the Hall of Fame. That's not what you know.
This is the thing. And I think probably the challenge here is that we look at the Hall of Fame as an individual honor.
That's because it is.
Okay. But there's a lot of stuff in the Hall of Fame. People's jerseys, Nick Foles is in the Hall of Fame.
His jersey's in the Hall of Fame. He's not.
His jersey's in the Hall of Fame. So if you could put a jersey in the Hall of Fame, you could put a team in the Hall of Fame. So at least at a team level, they should be, the team could be in the Hall of Fame, maybe.
No. First of all,
you don't like that either, right?
No, not at all. First of all, that simply commemorates a moment. That's a commemoration.
Well, that's what Nick Foles' jersey is.
That's what I just said. Nick Foles' jersey
commemorate the team.
No. Being elected to the Hall of Fame is your individual collective career, statistics, championships, and all that stuff. Nick Foles had a moment, and to commemorate the moment, they chose to put his jersey in the Hall of Fame to commemorate the moment. It ain't about him. It's about the moment. They could have got the shoelace out of his left cleat to commemorate the moment. It has nothing to do with him. He was part of something that they feel like needed to be honored, and honorary stuff goes in the Hall of Fame. So they took his jersey and stuck it in the Hall of Fame to commemorate that moment. It has nothing to do with Nick Foles ever sniffing the Hall of Fame.
Well, okay. You know, it might require the Hall of Fame to make some changes in order to meet my thoughts on it. But, you know, I'm not above changing the Hall of Fame. You I tell you what, when you and when we talked about this, at some point, Ben and Barry on Football is going to go out to the Hall of Fame. And when we do, we're going to pull aside one of them guys, and I'm going to whisper in his ear, and you can whisper in his other ear, and we'll see which way he goes.
All right, so if we get a Niner and a Giant to go in the same class, maybe we'll figure this out. Because there'll be good reason for us to both go.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll have to look for that. We better check this class because it might be happening. I don't think
it might not know. It could be happening right away.
I'll be like, oh, I gotta book a ticket.
Absolutely. I have to contact my Ohio family. And
oh yeah, you got peeps.
I got peeps. Yeah, I got Ohio roots, man. You know, so and those roots go way, way back, man. You know, we did our ancestry and found out that about our fourth or fifth generation grandfather purchased land. We have the actual contracts, the pictures of the contracts.
Right. And then
in Ohio.
And then they built a football field and Jim Thorpe played there, right?
No, not on my grandfather's location. Even though with the indigenous Indian part, we might have some relation to You never know. You know,
that's right. You never know.
We on my mother's side, our ancestry kind of leads toward this Indian tribe called the Mi'kmaws.
Okay.
In Canada, in Nova Scotia. And there was just an article written about how that all happened. And if you remember I think it was called The Book of Negroes. There was a movie called The Book of Negroes.
Yes.
And it was about it was when we were, the United States, or what was then the United States, we'll call it, was fighting the British Empire, and the British Empire was recruiting slaves to come fight with them. And so they were telling them, come to Canada, you'll be free, you'll be this, et cetera. And, you know, and that's what a lot of them did. So that story, but a lot of that land that was taken was Mi'kmaq land. You know, so there's a whole connection there. But that's a whole nother story. Long story short, congratulations to Eli. You know, you got to just like Eli. I mean, I've got some pictures of Eli getting him off the floor with his helmet completely off the ground, helmet turned around, that look on his face, like, what the heck? But he was the Iron Man. He, you know.
That's right.
He didn't miss games for injury, man.
That's right.
You know, he might be a testament to the pocket quarterback.
Hey, as much as he was famous for chucking and ducking, the guy didn't get hurt. And it's not like he never got hit. He took some licks. And the famous helmet catch, how the heck did he get out of that? Okay, for a guy who fell down on purpose many a time, okay, he dug deep for that one and made a throw that turned into the helmet catch that led to them winning one of those Super Bowls and him getting one of those MVPs. So, you know, they all make business decisions from time to time, you know, and if they're playing the Eagles at mid-season and the records are almost equal and Cox is coming right at him unblocked, you think he's going to stand there and take that hit? Heck no. So I can't fault him for that. You know, the goofy smile and the goofy look that he gave sometimes when things didn't go well. It used to bother me at first, but after a while, I was just like, yo, that's just his face, yo. I'm sorry. That's just his face. But the guy can play ball. And I tell my guys, your best ability is availability. You need your starting quarterback on the field playing, not your second string, not your third string. Ask the Pittsburgh Steelers. You need your starting quarterback on the field, you know, and he showed up every week.
Part of the Manning football royalty family, you and I both were Archie Manning fans, I guess, to some degree. I thought Archie Manning was just one of the most fun people to watch play football, and always was amazed at the irony that his sons playing quarterback were nothing like him relative to running.
It's kind of crazy. That's kind of
crazy. Like they didn't, like, they must have got maybe their mom wasn't a runner and they took after their mom or something like that, because we knew what dad could do. Because dad could take off, man. You know? So what can I tell you? All right. Unless you have anything more to say about Mr. Manning, then we'll move on and just quickly do some review of our social media, just to share that and let everyone know where we are. I didn't mean to start there. Let's start here at the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings on Facebook at Sterling NPPR. That's where you'll find the Bias Plus reports. You'll find all of our rankings, the things that we discussed in terms of points for, points against, turnover differential, etc. Come visit the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. And also on Facebook, we have Ben and Barry on football at BNBOF, where you'll find the articles and the information that we just finished discussing. We are on Instagram at BNBOF. Join us there and, you know, send us a message. We're trying to build our following a little bit. We got to get some followers up. We need to do a little more posting. I got to get working on that. And we are on Twitter at BNB on football. And again, you know, we're building following, but I really like the people that we're following. I like Twitter because you can literally just tweet somebody, you know, and they'll get back to you. You know, we've gotten responses from a number of different celebrities and things of that nature. So we're still working on all of that. And if you go to the website, www.benandbarryonfootball.com, you will end up at our YouTube channel where all of our videos are posted. So I just wanted to throw that out there for everyone. Okay, about to wrap this puppy up. Mr. Benny, any last words?
Yeah, I do have something. I remember earlier I said to you I had something about commentary, and I couldn't remember what it was, but it did come back to me. Oh, something else that came back to me, Dirk Nowitzki.
Dirk Nowitzki for the Mavericks. Right. Absolutely.
So, had to get that out there.
Dirk played for how long about?
Oh, he had a long career.
Had a nice long career.
Yeah.
You know, so the owner here had Dirk for all those years, and now he's got Luka.
Yeah.
Man, that's a nice stretch. That's like 2 or 3 decades of having a really top-notch, you know.
That's true. That's true.
Player, highly skilled player like that. Go ahead.
The other thing was, and this could be a rant, but I'm not going to turn it into a rant because I know we're just about done, and I could link this to something else. But what I will say is, first of all, in the Super Bowl this year, there will be 5 black officials. So of the officials,
really?
there will be 5 black guys out there. One of them won't be the white hat, unfortunately, won't be the head official, but there will be 5 guys working. And the point of this is that it's a great accomplishment for these guys, as it would be for any other referee in the NFL, to make it to the Super Bowl and play and work the Super Bowl, because it's you have to earn it. You have to earn it. These guys are all given the opportunity over the course of the season to work with their crew, and sometimes in the playoffs work with different crews and prove to the referee association or whoever the heck is in charge of that they are amongst the best and the best officials, because you have to earn your way into the Super Bowl. And these guys have done that. Nobody's given this to them. Nobody said, there's no Rooney Rule for officials. Nobody said, oh, you know what? We need to add a couple of black guys because, it wasn't about that. Okay. It was purely straight up. They worked, they did well, and they earned it. I don't know the specific criteria for what they would consider earning it, but whatever it is, they did it. So kudos to those guys. And it's a first. It shouldn't be just now becoming a first in a league that's 75% black, and we could go into the whole, thing about black coaches and all that. But again, if these guys can be given the chance to earn their way into something that's extremely important to them and prestigious to them, why then would not a coach be given the opportunity to earn his way to a head coaching job?
Okay. All right. There you go. Duly noted, duly recorded, and will be duly posted.
Yes, please do. Please post that.
Okay, will do. All right. Any last words?
Go Noles.
All right.